They're not worried about first world problems. They're worried about third world problems. And now they're in a first world country with first world resources. They're like, oh, bet. Say less. I'm gonna go ahead and take all the opportunity I have to get to where I need to go. Whereas people born here, not everyone obviously, but a lot of us, we start with first world problems. We're not thinking about the basic. And that's why we fall trapped to the propaganda. I only put it in quotes. That's why we fall trapped to these things we're fed online. Yeah. To buy. And we get into debt and make these decisions. And
yeah, I mean, that's why like in America, it's so crazy. A lot of the self-help books, I read a lot of self-help books. A lot of times it's them trying to unwork your brain from consumerism. That's literally what it is. It's literally them trying to unwrap your brain, trying to get you in the same mindset as someone who just came over here from a third world country.
That's so.
In this economy, modern economy, you think that you are only going to have one job and think that's going to be able to suffice and stabilize your lifestyle? You're fucking stupid. People have to understand that your job is meant to be your foundation, but within that job, you have to save for your future. You will have no future if you don't make no plans for the future. Retirement, 401k, Roth IRA, things of that nature. Because when you do get sick, because you will, or you have your ups and downs, you're not going to be able to pay for the things, especially the fact that everything keeps increasing. So you got to make you got to have a side hustle, something to complement your mainly source of income. Like, I don't get it. People want this fast money, fast this. Yes, when you're young. You take risks, no problem, right? You take calculated risks, but you also have to do the small investments that's going to increase over time, compound interest.
Yeah, he said a lot of it's true.
The hell is that?
I'm trying to like remember all the different lanes he went down, because he went down like 2 or 3 lanes.
Yeah, I mean,
he went down a side hustle lane. He went down a long-term investing lane. He went down if you get sick, you need an emergency fund, a healthcare lane. I don't know. There's a lot of lanes he went down.
I mean, the main thing that he's saying is that you just need more than one income.
That's,
and then you have to be smart about what you do with the money that you do bring in.
There it is. Oh man, thanks. That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's definitely right. I like that he's talking a lot of sense, because sometimes when people get in their car, like that's a problem. They get in their car and they say the craziest things, and you're like, what in the world is going on, man? Keep driving. But he was making a lot of sense. And it's true. Listen, like when I first started working, like had a regular job, like right after college, I had 2 jobs. And that's the only way I was able to actually move forward, was having 2 jobs. Because just having one job, like I was just looking at my check and I was like, man, like there's so much stuff that you don't realize that you have to pay for that adds up. Yeah. And it's always the little things that adds up. It's the bite to eat, that's $10. It's the gas that you put in when you first go to work, that $20, and you're trying to stretch that $20. You go back and forth, especially if you have a commute, you go back and forth. That's gonna eat, that's gonna take a huge chunk. You got rent, you got utilities, you got a lot of small stuff adds up, and by the time you get your check back, it's almost nothing. So I mean, a second income is definitely necessary, because it's actually, that's the part that's going to help you build towards not relying on one income, is having the second income. So I mean, he's 100% right.
Yep. And the thing about it is, fewer and fewer people who are getting in relationships now, at least younger, I'll say that people are doing everything older now. I think a lot of that is because of the economy, but yeah, people are getting married older, they're having kids older, they're getting in relationships older. So a lot of people now, we're spending time as single people a lot longer than we did before. So because of that, we don't have the second income that we did before. So with that being said, if you don't have someone who you can split the rent with, you can split grocery costs with, now you have to make up for that by getting a second job or a side hustle, a second income, just to be able to pay for your basic necessities, not to mention what he talked about, which is long-term investing. That's what he meant with the Roth IRA and the 401k. Those are long-term investments that hopefully you have to draw upon when you're in retirement age, and not just depend on Social Security if it's even available. Because if not,
Social Security's cooked.
I mean, they've been saying that for a long time, and it may be cooked. And if it is, and by the way, it was never meant to be the only way that you support yourself in retirement anyway. Yeah. The thing about it is, nowadays, pensions are a thing of the past. So now everyone has a 401k, which means the onus is on them to know how to invest. Yeah. Most people don't know how to. And most people, if they aren't forced to put money away, they're not going to. So then when they get old, they're cooked. So that's what he's saying. It's just fact. I think we all need to be more financially educated so we know how to invest and where to invest, number one. And then also get additional income besides our regular 9 to 5 or whatever you do to make money.
Can't disagree with that.
All right. So I'm an immigrant from Jamaica, right? I live in the U.S. now. I've been over here, 20 years. I've been in the Army, veteran, been to Iraq, been to Afghanistan, been all over the world, right? And one thing I've learned in the U.S., like you have to have multiple streams of income if you want to live a good life, right? If you don't have any debt at all, except maybe a mortgage, you can live an amazing life in America. All right. That's why I'm trying to post videos on TikTok. That's why I'm posting videos on YouTube, fishing videos. Check me out, Big Belly Fishing. I post a video every Sunday. I'm close to getting monetized on that.
Shout out to you.
I am trying to create streams of income because I see people do it all the time on social media. They're making hella money and all they're doing is posting their life, So check me out.
We support you, bruv. We already got your name of your channel.
Right.
So, which is cool. We're all for that.
He's asleep right now.
Yeah, this is probably a bad way. Let me rock it.
Free.
There we go. His eyes are open now. Bro, debt free. Let me tell you something, guys. You know this already, so that's why you're probably laughing, but you don't know this yet. I am an evangelist for the debt free lifestyle. Okay, I will go to the mountaintop and preach this to everyone. I think that if people would just pay off all consumer and personal debt, aside from the mortgage, like you said, because that's something you can handle down the line. But no car note, no credit card debt, no personal loans, no buy now, pay later.
That's terrible.
You know what I mean? None of that. Get rid of your student loans if you can, or just don't take them to begin with. I think you've seen enough horror stories now to know to do it the right way. That's the cheat code to life. Because literally, I have no debt aside from business debt, which is for rental properties. I have no debt. And if you have no debt and you make the median income in the United States, you're going to be straight. For the most part. I'm not saying it would be great.
If you don't have kids.
If you don't have, even if you don't have kids. Even if you do have kids though, and you have no other debt at all, you're not going to feel the same financial stress and strain of someone who has kids, but has all these bills you have to pay every month.
Yeah.
With interest. I'm trying to tell you, it's a freaking cheat code, dude. It's a freaking, and then if you stack on extra side income on top of that, you're cooking with freaking fish.
No. That's the cheat code. What you said.
Debt-free is the cheat code.
No. What I'm saying, debt free is something that we all know not to get in debt. That's something that we all know. I'm not saying that people don't do it. I'm just saying that that's something we're taught that debt is bad.
We know that. You'd be surprised.
Bro, I mean, even in school, they talk about debt. Like debt is bad.
I didn't learn that in school. And I'll tell you this, personally, I didn't learn that in school. But what I do know is that even debt, I won't even say it's bad necessarily. I say consumer debt is bad. Debt as a tool. You can use it. Like you can use debt to take yourself from being poor to being a multimillionaire in one generation if you use it wisely to start a business or whatever. Right? So I'm not negating what you're saying. But yes, consumer debt is what I'm talking about.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying most people when they say debt, it's consumer debt.
Consumer debt, right?
It's consumer debt. That's like you know what I'm saying? The people associate it with. But he's completely right. And that's one thing I realized early on, right? So I realized early on there's like a lot of people who are like foreigners and they come over here and they know how to work the system, it's because they don't fall trap to a lot of things that American born people fall for, which is consumerism.
Right.
They just focus on getting the money. They focus on staying in their lane. And that's why a lot of times, like for example, I've seen so many times in my life where like people I know that barely spoken English, they come here, they work at McDonald's, they work some bullshit job, and then like 2 or 3 years, like they're making leaps above people who have been here their entire life. But they're making leaps because they're avoiding a lot of things that people fall for, that accumulate debt, right? That's unnecessary. Like I've seen so many people like they're not even citizens and they're able to find ways to like cut for paying for school, which people, American born people, like it's hard for us to even fathom filling out all that paperwork to get, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like just
and part of that is that going back to what you said, I don't know if it was this video or a different video we did, but you mentioned Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
And when you come from another culture, my parents are both immigrants, so I can speak to this very directly. And we all have friends that are first generation, and there's a certain hunger you have that a lot of people in the US don't necessarily have. And it's partly because when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you're coming from, you may have just barely had the basic needs fulfilled.
Yeah.
Food, shelter, water.
Yeah.
Above that, you didn't really know what that is. In the US, even the poorest people.
Yeah, you start off
I mean?
way above the survival. You start off somewhere in the middle, and that's why a lot of people can't get past it.
And that's why you have the whole thing about first world problems. Foreigners, we come here, well, I'm not a foreigner, but when foreigners come here, they're not worried about first world problems. They're worried about third world problems. And now they're in a first world country with first world resources. They're like, oh, bet. Just say less. I'm going to go ahead and take all the opportunity I have to get to where I need to go. Whereas people born here, not everyone obviously, but a lot of us, we start with first world problems. We're not thinking about the basic. And that's why we fall trapped to the propaganda. I only put it in quotes. That's why we feel trapped to these things we're fed online.
Yeah.
To buy. And we get into debt and make these decisions. And
yeah, I mean, that's why like in America, it's so crazy. A lot of the self-help books, I read a lot of self-help books. A lot of times it's them trying to unwork your brain from consumerism. That's literally what it is. It's literally them trying to unwrap your brain, trying to get you in the same mindset as someone who just came over here from a third world country.
That's so true. And dude, it's so basic. Not to belabor this point, but I read 2 books, and I'll recommend one because I didn't finish the other one, so I can't really fully recommend it. But I read one called Set for Life by Scott Trench. He's like he's somewhere high up in Bigger Pockets, the real estate company, which now they're really a media company.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you haven't read that book and you want to read a book about like the basics of how to get yourself set up,
that's a good basic one. Yeah.
It's a good basic one.
Yeah.
The other one is Your Money or Your Life, like I said, I didn't read the whole thing because I read a lot of these books and a lot of information is the same. But I couldn't recommend it. I got like halfway through. And a piece in that book that they mentioned that wasn't mentioned in Set for Life that I liked a lot was about how consumerism affects the earth. I know some people don't care about that that much, but we fail to realize that when you throw something away, you don't really throw it away. They take it to a landfill and it piles up, and a lot of it doesn't even degrade. And it's like all this fast fashion is terrible for the earth, for example. And the thing about it is, it's not like people need it. They buy it because they're trying to fill a void, or they buy it because they were programmed to buy it, and now they wear it once and they throw it away. It's like, it's crazy to me.
Or Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's a great one.
Oh, that's a
classic.
That's
it's a great book. I listened to audio. It was great. Another book that's low key underrated. 50 Cent came out with a book. I've been reading it.
Really? What's it called?
It's, I think, Hustle Harder, Think Smarter, something like that. It is great. It is a great. I listened to it on Audible. It is immaculate.
So if you guys haven't read, just check those 4 out we mentioned.
You know what's so sad about this economy, and honestly, like greed, and I'm not trying to be super political, but what is so sad about this economy is that a lot of us have to work 2-3 jobs and side hustles just to get by. Like, I really wish we can go back to the times when you can live off of one salary, support an entire family, buy a house, get a car on one salary. This is so sad. Like, I really wish you all achieve your dreams. Like, if you work at least 2 jobs, you know the struggle, you know the pain, the aches. Like, I go home so tired after my second job. I have physical fatigue. My first job is just a desk job. I don't really care. Like, mentally, I'm tired. But when I work at Boba, I'm running around taking care of customers, getting drinks, the food, and physically, I'm tired. And mentally, I'm even more tired. So it is not fun, but I think it is so worth it in the long run. It's not fun. And if you're one of those people, I applaud you. I respect.
I mean, she said a lot. Some of it is kind of like, because this is the thing, when she's talking about times where you could survive on only one income.
Right.
Not only was that like a completely different time period, but women weren't working.
Right.
So that was just like the guy. So
Not
if you were to
as
go
much.
back to that, I mean, you wouldn't be working.
Probably not. Or she should be working like admin or something. Yeah, people like to act as if, and I haven't done my research, so I'm not gonna speak too much on it, but my gut tells me that all this perception about times being so much better in the past and you could really afford everything on one income, I think a lot of that is misconstrued. Is some of it true? Yes, but I don't think all of it is true.
Bro, it was a romanticized is what it is. It's that people have a fantasy about how easy it was back in the day, but in reality, if you ever gone to an old folks home, talk to an old person and ask them how easy it was back then. They will laugh at you.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
They will laugh at you.
Also, to go back to my point a second ago about debt thing, I'm gonna add to it too, because she said something else too. It's all short term if you make it short term. So I'm a proponent of Dave Ramsey's method. If you haven't heard of Dave Ramsey, he's a financial guy. I will call him a financial. He's a financial expert, and his focus is on some of the things I don't agree with, but the fundamentals of what he says I do agree with, which is get out of debt completely. For the average person, this is information for the average person. There are always outliers, but for the average American, paying off all your debt and delaying gratification for a short period of time, I think is what will set you free. And I know Dave Ramsey has a quote, live now like no one else so that later on you can live like no one else. So she was saying that it's so tiring and she works all these long shifts and it's tough work. Thing is, when you're young and you can do all that, if you're with someone even better, because now you can expedite the process. If y'all lock in for, let's say, 2 to 5 years, if you go to school or you don't, let's say you go to school, you graduate, hopefully you don't have that much debt, lock in for 2 to 5 years, focus on doing nothing but grinding, work 2 jobs, both of you, plus a side hustle, pay off all your debt, stack your cash, or let's say pay off all your debt. Maybe you can't stack that much cash while you're doing that. Once your debt's all paid off, then start stacking your cash and live below your means. I think that most people would be, I don't want to say happy, but there won't be as many people online complaining about how tough it is right now. Will things still be tough? Yes, but you just won't feel it as much. You'll be more insulated. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, this is what I'm gonna say, because I've been in that position too, right? Where you had to work 2 jobs because one job wasn't cutting it. The thing about working 2 jobs, it's something that's really not sustainable.
No.
Because I mean, your health, because when you're working 2 jobs, something else in your life is gonna shift down that's gonna be necessary. So that might be your health, that might be your relationships. There's gonna be something that's gonna be definitely shifted down. The thing that I've learned to do is that when you're working two jobs, you save that money, and the money that you save, you invest it in learning a higher income skill. Because when you save it and you invest it to learn a higher income skill, that's gonna lead you to being able to work 1 job instead of working 2 jobs for the rest of your life. Because the thing is this, and like I said, I've experienced it before. When you work 2 jobs, it's like, oh yeah, I'm making all this money, you can't really enjoy it. You're gonna get burned out, and then at the end of it, you're gonna end up quitting. You can't sustain it, so you're gonna have to quit 1 job at one point in time, and then you're gonna be back to the same spot where you can't survive off of 1 income. So it's not sustainable. It's a temporary solution for a long-term problem. And the best thing to do is, like I said, save the money and invest in learning a higher income skill, so that way you can make higher wages.
I'm gonna say it's a both and on this one, because I agree with you. I'm gonna say if you had to choose one, I'm gonna go with you grind hard for as long as you can with that second job, because like you said, it's definitely not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Especially if you're doing one that involves physical labor.
Mental or physical.
Especially like if you're resting your back 2 different jobs, jobs, it's not gonna last long.
Oh no, you're done.
Pay off everything. I keep saying it. Because even if you're left with one job and you're making $50K a year at that one job, you're on a much better position now. Because now half of your check that was going to pay off this debt is now going to be able to be invested or paid, used to learn that higher income skill, or just to live your regular lifestyle that may not be that glamorous, but good enough. But I do agree that, because I've been in the same boat you have.
Yeah.
I've worked 2 jobs simultaneously.
It's terrible.
Plus had a side hustle actually. And yeah, it was...
It's awful. I'm sorry. It's terrible.
See, the thing about it, so I think having a goal in mind makes it more bearable. Because in my mind, I wanted to do a couple things with the money and I achieved those things. But every time I felt super unmotivated to continue doing both of those, all those things I was doing, I thought about the end goal in mind. So that obviously helped. Because if I had just been doing it to just to make extra money and I had nothing to do with extra money,
yeah,
I don't think I would have been able to really do it as long as I did. So I think that's a cheat code too. You need to have some type of North Star. Like, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? Am I trying to learn a new high income skill? I need the money for that. Am I trying to save up for a down payment for a house? Am I trying to buy a car? Am I trying to put my kids to private school? Like, you need some kind of thing to keep you motivated. Otherwise, you're kind of like,
you do. You do. All right, decision makers. If you think you survive off of more than one income, leave a like, leave a comment. If you think you can't, it's unsustainable, leave a like, leave a comment. All right, decision makers, get more than one income.